Hello and welcome to another GT Sport video. Today we will be driving the Daily Race B, which this week is a Group 3 race at the Catalunya Grand Prix circuit. The car that we will be using in this race is the Subaru WRX Group 3 car. And if you notice my safety rating, it is A, as a result from last week fun intercourses with other cars. So here's the first race. We start in P4 and let's see how we do. Well, as the first race has a tough time taking off. We can hear the gentle sounds of a helicopter whizzing by. But finally, we can continue. It seems that the South African driver had a tough time starting his engine, but finally we can start the race. P4. So we start off and we're closing in on the French driver who is driving in the Peugeot. First corner, nothing really happens. We're not really in a position to overtake anyone yet, but so are the drivers behind us. The French driver in the Peugeot drives the other French driver wide, so he loses a couple of positions. So now we're in P3. Going through to turn 4, we are really closing it on the Frenchman. In turn 5 we get really close, but because of the tight turn we don't really get an opportunity to overtake him here. So now we're continuing. The unfortunate thing is that in the tight turn we bumped him just a little bit, so we have to gain all this ground again. But here on the back straight we catch the slipstream and we do get an opportunity to overtake him. So we're outbraking him here in the back, in the hairpin. He doesn't get an opportunity to overtake me back. And then we brake for this corner and he shoves me wide. And at first I was thinking, well, that might not have been deliberate per se, but then this happens. Once, and then this happens twice. He even shoves another player together with me wide, who drops back to P7. And then on the start-finish straight we get a 1 second penalty for some reason for colliding with another car, which technically isn't incorrect, but yeah, I guess you can see what happened. So at the end of the start-finish straight we're P6. And here in turn 3 we try to go on the side of the Italian driver, but we shove him a little bit wide and I hold a little bit in to give him the position and avoid getting a penalty, but that results in me letting the Dutchman squeeze through, who will probably also be pretty pissed by now, because he was the second driver that got riled up in all this commotion from the first lap. So now we're in P6, still in P6 I should say, because it's hard to notice, but the South African driver who was driving in P1 dropped out for an unknown reason, as we overtake the Dutch driver coming onto the back straight. But of course here we have to serve our penalty and we lose a couple of positions all the way to P8. The good thing is that we're right behind a group of 5 cars, which might result in us gaining still a couple of places before the race is over. So now we're going through the really tight part of the circuit. And there is already one driver going around. So we gain 1 place, now P7. And then at the last corner of the circuit, go onto the inside of the Spanish driver and we gain another position, leaving us in P6. But the Spanish driver keeps right in our tail. I decide not to go defensive for some reason, but I still get to keep the position. Now the two drivers behind us are out of reach, so to speak, and we can continue. Here we overtake another driver who probably made a mistake in the tight corner. So we're in P5 now, and at the end of this lap the Dutchman and the Italian driver are really fighting amongst each other, which results in this. So we overtake both here. And now we've got P3 and we're on the podium. At least for now, because the Italian driver in the Porsche is overtaking us. And before the end of the straight he's going past us, but he's not quite there yet, so he steers into us going into the corner. He goes a little wide, I leave him the space, and now we're right next to each other in turn 3. So coming out of turn 3, we're still right next to each other, approaching turn 4, and here the exact same happens. Only this time there's sand on the outside of the corner, so unfortunately his whole race is ruined. Also, another driver in the Porsche passed us while we were having our thing, which leaves us in P4 still. And this is the end of the race. So we drove P4 to P4, got a bit of luck, and also were unlucky in some occasions. And if we're looking down the order, we see that the Italian driver is ending in 15th place. So that's unfortunate, but well, you all know how this game is. Sometimes you win, sometimes you just literally bite in the sand. But let's go on to the next race. On this race we start in P6, and looking down the order there are some familiar cars here. In P4 we have Billy Kid, which is the same driver with which I had a pleasant encounter in the first race, and behind me the Dutchman had a paddock. Actually, he's the Dutch driver in the AMG from last race. So let's see how we do. So the race has started, and for some reason the gap between me and the car in front doesn't really close up, or at least not quickly enough. So first corner, not really anything interesting is happening, but a couple of corners in and we get really close, and we get a little lovely touch from the Dutchman. He gets 1 second penalty for it, but my starting place for this race appears not to be P6 but P12. So let's see what we can do from P12. Going into the back straight for the first time. Here we get a little incident which leaves us in P11. Now we go around the really tight corners of this circuit. And the yellow flag comes on again. We're in P10 right now. Going through the chicane. Another driver goes off and we're in P9. So now for lap 2. Slowly by the end of the straight we're gaining on the French driver and attacking him on the inside. I leave some space for him on the left side of the road, but he goes off a little bit, rejoins the track, but gives me the position. So now we're in P8. But in turn 4 I still have to defend on the driver behind me, but coming out of this corner, he doesn't really pose a threat anymore. So P8 is quite secure at this moment, and for the rest of the lap nothing really happens anymore. So let's see how we do in lap 3. Here is another driver that goes off, so we basically get P7 handed to us. But after that, nothing really happens anymore in the race. Except for this little instance. Dutch driver makes a little mistake. We managed to get next to him, but he's got the inside cover to go to the chicane at the end of the race. So there you go, P7. So this race we went from P6, or should I say P12, to P7. Could have been worse, but well, I guess I should be happy with this. So this is all I have for you today, and hopefully see you in the next video.